Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you low quality content you deserve, and today I actually wanted to have a discussion about everyone's favorite fusion monster, Dragoon. So, everyone hates it. I don't know a single person that's like, oh man, I love Dragoon. I love dealing with Dragoon. I love the interactions Dragoon creates. No one thinks that. The only thing that I've ever seen is like false justification for its existence. But I'm going to tell you right now, in this discussion, I'm going to give you more than enough reasons on why this card should just go. Like, we try to justify, like, oh, we have talents, oh, we have droplet, oh, we have blah, 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 blah. That's not the problem. The problem isn't outing it, it's how it's being used. So let's get straight into it. So, a lot of people, when they judge this card, they judge it in a very, very shallow perspective. Not like ignorant, but like they only judge it when facing it alone, if that makes sense. And when I say alone, they're dealing with Dragoon and like a trap deck, or they're dealing with like Dragoon and a board, something like this, and a bunch of monsters. Like, this is how they're judging Dragoon. They're seeing it as, wow, this is such a powerful boss monster that a combo board's trying to end on. But what they really don't understand about both of these applications is that Dragoon isn't like a boss monster, as it is its own alternate win condition. Because, let's think about this. So let's just take this off the board for a moment. If your combo opponent has summoned all these boss monsters, let's just say Hot Red, Spheres, Savage, guys, a bunch of guys, then that means you weren't interrupting them at all, and your chances of winning are very low if you just don't have like some insane power cards. But then when you throw Dragoon in the mix, it's actually more of the same, because you're already facing a board you can't really do much of anything about. You're only beating it with a handful of cards, and Dragoon doesn't change that. The only combo deck that Dragoon changes how difficult it is to add to board is specifically Phantom Knights. So nothing really changes there. It's a towers that's also a negate, but like if you're needing Droplet or Dark Ruler to even deal with the board, then that doesn't even matter. So that's a false application, and it's a false way to judge this card. But let's put it in the combo perspective of how it's actually being used. You have a lot of interruptions for this combo, to the point where they could only put 2 monsters on the board because you have completely hand-trapped them. Here, activated droplets there, blah, blah, blah. You're really low on cards, but your combo opponent could only put 2 monsters on the board. They can't make a synchro for Savage. They can't make anything except Verte. So they'll end on Dragoon. Why is this toxic? Well, because of all those interactions you had to use to not immediately lose to this combo that you saw previously, you had to use a lot of cards. So much so that you are top decking and every single card in your hand matters, or even you only have a card to play. And if you only have 1 card to play, you can't bait out Dragoon, play, and then out it. So what this card actually does for these combo decks is, instead of giving them more of what they already have, they instead create an alternate win condition in a simplified game state. Now, you might be asking what that means, which, it should be pretty obvious. Whenever your opponent uses so many cards on you that they're just super low on cards, it probably means they no longer have a way to deal with Dragoon. So this Dragoon could easily just be the end of the game being summoned. All because you tried to stop your opponent from winning the game turn 1. This is a problem. The fact that no matter how you stop a combo deck, Dragoon rewards them anyways is very degenerate. It's being done in Drytron. It's being done in all these dumb combo decks that your opponent can just completely recklessly throw their hand on the board, make misplays, not play around the hand traps, and it doesn't matter because no matter how many times you hand trap them, no matter how many interruptions you throw at them, it's fine because as soon as Dragoon hits the board, they know you don't have anything left. And now they just win because this is 2 Ring of Destructions and like at least 3,000 attack. Like this could you effectively need to draw 2 cards for your draw phase to bait it, out it, and then play. It's not going to happen. So that's its application of why it's really degenerate. It's not degenerate because it's put on boards of already broken boards. It's the fact that whenever you're playing any combo deck, a deck that's just summoning monsters, you have to interrupt it somewhere. And the fact that, like, you get to have the ability that if your opponent just stops you in every situation, you can just play Dragoon and that ends the game anyways, is toxic. Because all these negation monsters, what they do is they eliminate 1 card from the equation. So, like, let's say you have, like, 5 negates. That means the only card your opponent has to deal with everything you have is 1, unless a specific card is mass unrespondable disruption, like Dark Ruler, Droplet, Super Poly. That's like the only thing that can happen. So these take a card out of the equation, but hand traps also secretly do that. Because every time you have to ash one of their plays, you are eliminating 1 card from their hand, but you're also eliminating a play, but that's 1 less negate they need to make. Because now there's 1 less card in your hand that you will start your turn off with, so that's 1 less negate they would need. So then, every time you throw a hand trap at them, every time you throw a disruption, yeah, it hurts them. It could even stop what they're trying to do, but it's also 1 less thing they need to care about. It's simple card advantage. Whenever their cards run to the point that they're just at 1 or 2, if you summon a card that takes most of the time multiple cards to deal with, it's pretty much won the game. It's too powerful in these simplified game states that these combo decks are already trying to create, that this card just needs to go. I hope I have given you a better example of what I'm talking about, because this card really isn't okay. We really just shouldn't be putting cards in the game that give combo decks 2 opposite win condition in the exact same hand, to where if you're damned if you do stop their combo, but also damned if you don't. That is definitely not okay. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. And I really hope you guys just understand why you can't really justify cards like Dragoon or Masterpiece or cards of that caliber, because the only reason you would ever justify them is the argument I made with the Ignorant 8, where you're only arguing them to stay in the game because you're pointing at a completely separate degenerate interaction that isn't even qualified for them. Like, Imperial Order needs to stay in the game because of all these degenerate combo decks. Your 1 Imperial Order doesn't stop these degenerate combo decks. As a matter of fact, these same degenerate combo decks can also play Order. But you want to justify, like, if this part's broken, why can't this part be broken? How about just not have all these degenerate degenerate garbage in the game. Like, why not actually deal with all these terrible, horrible game-stealing cards? And Dragoon is one of them. I think it needs to go. I hope it goes. And I think the fact that this meta is seeing a huge push on combo decks just always playing Dragoon, like Drytron, is the reason this card is probably going to go next list. Like, you really can't justify a deck like Drytron that just summons all its monsters for free, or almost free. It's going to play through a lot of hand traps outside of, like, Droll specifically, and even when it does that, if you stop them in every situation, if they just end on Dragoon, sometimes that's just, the game's over. Because you use too many cards to try to stop their combo that would automatically win the game, that they've summoned Dragoon in a simplified game state and already won the game. Like, that's just not okay for this game. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinnerflax will take your soul.